Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. We do have a 3-hour banger lined up today. Great guests on the program, including Nick Whalen, NFL preseason takeaways, future bets in 30 minutes. Ed Salmon's on the program. Now recently retired Las Vegas odds maker and sports bettor on the show in 90 Minutes NFL there with him. And Paul Stone a little bit later on betting the MAC this year in college football. It feels good to be back. So all of our vacations are done, right?
That's it.
So it's pedal to the metal until the day after the Super Bowl, basically.
That's right.
All right. It's a good feeling.
Let's fast forward. Come on.
Now, well documented here if you listen to this network or watch it all the time. But week 1 preseason takeaways, Paulie, the dogs were barking like crazy. 9-6-1 straight up, 11-4-1 ATS. The unders also came in. And that's, those totals were bumped up so much. And then the unders come in at 12-4. And this is a great note from Brad Powers, pro bettor, that if you steam chased every 3-point or more line move, sides or totals right before kickoff, 10-1 against the spread.
You believe it? I'm stunned by that.
So am I.
You got to be scared off. I mean, Miami +1 to -4.5, lost. Browns +1 to -3, lost. Jets +1 to 5.5, no good. Saints 3-point move, 4-point move on the total, 4-point move on the Vikings total.
Right.
Not even close. What happened?
Well, I think this also look. I mean, betting quarters and halves. I think a lot of those got there, right? But full games.
Okay.
Negatory.
Yep. Tough with the Colts, 4 turnovers, fumbling at the 1. Cincinnati backdoor cover by the Lions. I mean, it was bad. The only thing you can hang your hat on is just Denver destroys people. That's 8 in a row now, straight up in ATS. And the only Atlanta touchdown was because Denver fumbled deep in their own territory. It's just Denver's a freight train. They're the new Baltimore.
Pretty much
what they've done.
And that's funny how Baltimore just continued without Harbaugh, and they got the job done. And that was a smoke show over the weekend. I made a couple of bets that, first of all, how did my Jets Browns moneyline parlay come in? Is that a winner? Should I go up to the window and try to cash that one today? And also, I had Colts team total over 10.5 in the first half, and for the game 19.5. I'm still wondering how that lost.
Yep.
At the 1 yard line, they were going up and down the field. The turnovers were just, it's like, oh God, here we go. Welcome back football. They could have had 3 touchdowns easy at halftime.
Right.
But a loser, and that's a donkey kick to the stomach.
I can't believe how bad these moves couldn't get there at all. It goes back to Thursday. Tennessee got there, but it was from pick up to 7, and then it falls 6. But this is just, it's not what's supposed to happen. You have teams that are going for it, quarterback battles, teams that are signing guys off the street, injuries everywhere, undrafted rookies starting a quarterback, and they're cashing tickets.
Yep. Now, this is a great note from VSiN host Scott Seinberg. And his website is betterday.com. If you go back preseason unders since 2012, it's only 52%. But when you bump it up, because the totals again were so high in week 1, unders on totals of 39.5 plus 60%. The last 5 years when the total is 39.5 or more, 63% to the under, Paulie. Last 5 years. So definitely make note of that. And a bunch of other stuff that I'm wondering about is, I mean, they just want to run Jeremiah Love like literally into the ground.
Yeah.
What 14 touches overall in the first preseason game? What is happening here? And then he gets injured, and there was a great breakdown on X about like running backs who have a similar injury to the one that Love sustained. It's like there's a noticeable decline. Like from the numbers, he's only a rookie, obviously, but there's an impact here. I couldn't understand that. I mean, come on, guys. You took him 3rd overall.
Dart, why does this keep happening? I can't believe it. I have to go to the tent again. It's the damnedest thing.
Right.
Yes.
Is that going to be the whole narrative around that team this entire year yet again?
Oh, I'm already hearing it. Everything under Giants, he's going to get hurt. He can't last the season. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Just the way that he plays football. How does he possibly rein it in? I mean, clearly, here we have last year to go on. And we're thinking, well, what's it going to look like now? New coaching staff, he comes in. Did he learn anything? Bam, right to the blue tent again immediately. And then they have so many, like the defense should legitimately be pretty damn good, but tough division. And he's not the only guy. Like the other skilled players, Scadaboo, what is his overall IQ? Neighbors reports have been really good about him, looking good. But one wrong turn and that could go sideways for him. This is, I really want to like this team overall with the talent and the new coaching staff. I can't do it this year. I've said that many times throughout the summer, and I'm sticking with that for sure.
I love them under, so that's just nothing changed for me.
Did you do any alts with them? Or just under 7.5?
That's not bad. You could look at that. I'm considering alts on the Bears. That there's no way this is going to continue with the luck factor that they had last year in a tough division.
What'd you make of that comment from Ben Johnson, though? He's
out of his mind. I know. It's like every coach says we want to make the playoffs or win the division. He comes out, I want to win the Super Bowl, win every game, set the points record, shut people out.
Yep.
It's calm down. You just take it easy, man, dude.
I want shootouts. I want blowouts.
Yeah.
I want to be the highest scoring offense ever.
Yeah, that's 38 a game then, the average.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah. Best of luck with that. Think about that. The Broncos averaged 37.9 a game that year in 2013 when Manning was going up and down the field on every team in the league. But so our buddy Adam Chernoff, I get the newsletter. He sent this out. He's like, look, based on that comment, the week 1 total against Carolina was 46. I don't know. Maybe Adam was a big reason why that moved. That's sitting at 47.5 now. 46, 47, certainly a key number in NFL totals. But that moved up a good 1.5, maybe 2 at some spots. That was at 46, wiped out, long gone for week 1. And I'll tell you another observation that I had based on, talking about Jeremiah Love. They'll be fine at running back because they did, they got Connor still waiting there. They got Benson, and they also brought in Algier. My takeaway from that game is, well, first of all, the Raiders are going to be bad again on defense, but I think actually competent on offense. And aren't the Cardinals going to be the team? Ben Johnson talks about playing in shootouts. Isn't it going to be Arizona again this year?
I don't know about that. I don't like the quarterback.
But look at their weapons, though, Paul.
Yeah,
I think you could go out
quarterback, though.
But they could also go to Beck right away if they wanted to.
I don't know about that either. Minshew looked good. Your buddy Minshew looked good.
Yeah, he did. I just think the defense is going to be really, really bad. And I'll take my chances with McBride, the aforementioned running backs. You have Harrison, you have Wilson. And maybe the quarterback play is bad, but in theory, the defense is going to be so bad with that brutal schedule, you're going to be playing from behind a lot anyway. So just don't throw 4 INTs a game and put some points on the board. I looked around because Caesars and DraftKings, they have every single game up for the regular season, I think with the exception of week 18. There are some tasty totals with Arizona games. We're talking mid to maybe high 40s, where I think I might have to get down for games of the year.
Well, why not look week 1 against the Chargers?
Okay.
Chargers might do whatever they want in that game, too.
Sure.
I mean, because we've talked about it all summer. This is a team that lost 14 of their last 15 and was god-awful defensively. So I don't think anything's going to change in Arizona. So, and the Chargers will be popular in Survivor, too. But I'm anxious and interested to see what they look like now with a competent offensive coordinator.
Yep, that total's 46.5. I could see myself being on that number.
How about the Jets game under? Should the Jets-Titans have a total of 40?
Probably not.
How bad did they look?
Yeah.
Oh, now Trubisky's hurt. Their offensive line was putrid.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same crap, I think, at offense with Tennessee. And good luck with Geno Smith, though, too. But I don't think there should be a total of 40 in that week 1 game.
We are going to do, I don't want to overreact, but in an hour, I'll give you one right now. I don't want to overreact, but, Paul, there is zero hope for the Jets or the Browns.
Both of them? I'd say more hope for the Jets.
I would, too. I mean, I'm being a little over the top with that, but for the Browns, do the Cleveland Browns have any hope whatsoever?
No. I bet their win total under, and then you saw that mess Saturday. It's everything you want. It's why the line moved 4 points.
Yeah.
You have a battle at number 1, quarterback number 2, and quarterback number 3. They're signing guys off the street to play defense. Allen blitzes a few times. They get home every time. You blow a 10-0 lead. Case Keenum looks like Montana. You can't stop anything. That's alarming. And then Monken doesn't even want to have a quarterback competition because after the game he said Watson was exceptional. No, he wasn't. You scored 10 points.
Right. A 10 of 11 passing. Exceptional.
Yeah, it's all Charlie checked down.
Exactly right.
So, but just Sanders was awful. The second half was atrocious. That was alarming. How bad? I mean, the Bears Case Keenum goes 9 of 10.
Sure.
A dump off goes for 41 yards. What a travesty!
Play none of their starters, basically.
Yes, right.
Brown's going for it. You know, with those battles that you talked about. It's one game. Were they the worst looking team in week 1 of the preseason? And they're certainly in the conversation.
Atlanta, but that's also Tua wasn't ready. Cooper Rush just off the street throws a pick 6. Peyton always goes for it in the preseason. The Zappy looked terrible.
Absolutely. How is he in the league?
I don't know. Once Klubnik came out, it was a mess for the Jets. And not that it matters, but Seattle was atrocious.
Yeah, they were.
To score 7 points against the Cowboys and have one nice drive.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
But they'll be fine, obviously. One would think, unless Darnold goes back to the guy, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Jets, maybe. I could see the Jets winning 5 games.
I can too.
There's no hope for the Browns.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No.
I really don't.
And the worst thing, as we said last week, the worst thing possible is if Watson has a good year. That then he's for, you can't sell it. How about a contract extension?
He'd be super happy to get another
that's just
contract from that team.
He's got to prove he can stay healthy as well. I don't think they're sold on him either, but horrible job by Sanders coming in there as well. That was just a putrid half of football.
I'll compare them to a team inside their own division. Again, it's one preseason game, so I don't want to get crazy here. But how is it possible that the Browns couldn't look like the Steelers did?
They were, every guy they threw in there looked awesome. Yeah. Howard, Aller, awesome.
Across the board.
Total bet on. That opened too low against the Jets coming up their next game.
Yes, correct. I agree with that. It's, boy, oh boy, alarming already. Up next, we'll dive into Major League Baseball. What a weekend for those of you holding tickets at 10-1, 25, 100-1 possibly, for this team simply to win their division.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
This feels good to talk NFL like every single day now. And we continue that now by going out to the Progressive guest line as Nick Whalen joins the program, does a great job Monday through Friday with prop points here on the network, also with RotoWire. The show here is at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm great, guys. I'm great. It's good to be back in this routine. Like you said, good to be able to talk NFL and not feel like we're just shoehorning it into the show every day. Mm-hmm. I think we've officially made it.
I think so, too. You can almost taste it right now. So let me run this by you. And I'm using DraftKings right now. The odds to win the NFC North, the Lions are plus 170. Packers second shot ahead of the Bears. I'm not sure about that. I know the Bears' schedule is more difficult, but they're a better roster in my opinion. Bears are plus 305, Vikings plus 510. Overall, what's your take on this division, Nick?
Yeah, there are 2 teams in the NFC North that I really like, and they are Detroit and Minnesota. Chicago, to me, is a little bit of a black box. I am here in Wisconsin, so maybe there's just a little bit of hesitancy to actually buy in on a Bears team. But I think if I'm in on 2 of those teams and I'm kind of neutral on the Bears, that means I have to be down on the other team, which is, of course, the Green Bay Packers. And I think there's still plenty of talent on this roster, guys, but it feels like a lot of the depth that has kept Green Bay afloat amid injuries, amid up and down play, losing games 2 or 3 times every year that they have no business losing. That depth has been able to keep them afloat and at least put them in the wild card mix every single year. I just wonder what happens. They're going to be without Micah Parsons to begin the year. We'll see how many games they get out of Tucker Kraft. I know he's ahead of schedule in his recovery, but the way he plays, you always worry about him. Jordan Love has been banged up. Who knows what's going on with Josh Jacobs? I just have a lot of question marks right now about the Packers. And I do wonder if we're going to look back and say, last year, if they had been able to stay healthy, maybe that was their opportunity. And maybe they've been passed up by some of these other teams in the division. Minnesota is probably the team I'm most above market on. I'm not going to go as far as to say they're going to win the division because I think the schedule is just so favorable for the Detroit Lions. I think that offense is going to be back to firing on all cylinders. But the party line for me, guys, has been we just cannot underestimate how much of a competency bump Kyler Murray is going to bring to this offense. And it's not because I'm a huge Kyler Murray fan. It's just look at the quarterback play last year. I mean, it was Max Brosmer. It was Carson Wentz. It wasn't just J.J. McCarthy. This team still won 9 games despite having bottom 3 quarterback play. They were bottom 5 in the NFL in offensive EPA, in passing yards, in first downs, in yards per attempt. they also led the NFL in turnovers. So not only were they going 3 and out all the time, they were also turning the ball over at a high rate. And because they couldn't throw the ball, because they had no threat at quarterback, the running game completely fell apart. So I think even if Kyler Murray can just come in and give you league average or slightly below league average quarterback play, there's still a really high floor for this Vikings team.
Excellent. How about the AFC West? And some people sleeping on Denver, I think. They're the third choice to win that division. How do you see the West playing out?
Yeah, the West is really, really tough to me. I'm with you. I think Denver's probably a little bit underrated now. A lot of things broke Denver's way last year. I didn't think Bo Nix really took a leap forward at all. And yet they still had a better regular season than they did 2 years ago. But that defense has just been so dominant and so consistent. And, maybe they're hit with injuries or something this time around, but it's hard to see why that would fall off, in this third year with Bo Nix. I'm not sure I'm buying the Chiefs right now as the favorite. I understand why they're the favorite at plus 160, but it still feels to me like the way this team is constructed is you're going to need superhero play out of Patrick Mahomes week in and week out. And for a good 4 or 5 year span, that worked out for the Chiefs. It feels like that's all come crashing back down the last couple of years. And I know they've made some improvements. I think some of the changes on defense, bringing in Mansour Delane to help, solidify that secondary, that'll help. But you're in a really, really competitive division. I mean, there are going to be no free wins when you're playing the Chargers, playing the Broncos. They have a difficult schedule as always. So I'm not buying the Chiefs at plus 160. I think Denver's probably the best value if you're looking at winning that division. The Chargers on paper look great. If they can avoid injury like last year, I think they'll be in that mix. I'm very excited about what Mike McDaniel can bring to that offense. I still kind of want to see it in practice before I just anoint that team.
Totally fair. Follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Nick Whalen, he is on the Progressive Guest Line. You get his show along with Jeff Erickson called Prop Points, Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern right here on the Sports Betting Network. Where were you at either fantasy or season-long prop betting potentially with Jeremiah Love before the injury, and where are you at with him today?
I was a little bit cooler on Jeremiah Love. Part of it was I just didn't love the pick necessarily. I actually think Arizona is slightly underrated as a fantasy landing spot. I think we talk about them as this team with a 3.5 win total. They're down at the bottom. They're a level ahead of a team like the Dolphins to me. I would put them maybe a little bit closer to the Raiders. And I think you could argue that there's more offensive talent on this roster, even though they were losing every single week with Jacoby Brissett last season. They were still putting up points. They were still in games. They were still competitive. So I don't really see a reason why that can't be the case again this year. As far as the injury, though, I mean, I don't think we're going to see Love the rest of the preseason. And, maybe he wouldn't have played much anyway. That's not that big of a deal. But not being able to practice for almost a month leading up to week 1, that's a concern for me. Just not getting those reps. Is he going to be rusty to begin the year? Arizona also has a brutal schedule in terms of the defenses they face. The first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, there aren't really great fantasy landing spots for him. Now, I'm not sure I'm buying what they're telling us as far as, we want to get James Conner involved. We want to have a ton of Tyler Algier. When you spend a top 5 pick on a running back, I think there's an obligation to use him. I mean, there's a reason he touched it 14 times in the first half of that game on Thursday. So usage-wise, I think it'll be fine. But I think this could ultimately end up looking a lot like Ashton Jeanty last year, where we still feel good about the player and we feel good about the workload. But, ultimately the situation is probably going to drag him down. I will say, though, the big difference between those guys is you could get Jeremiah Love now in the 3rd round, even into the 4th. Whereas last year, if you wanted Ashton Jeanty, you might have had to take him with the 10th, 11th, 12th overall pick. Okay.
You gave out Stripling at 33-1, Offensive Rookie of the Year, with Pearsall out for the year. Great Shanahan offense. He looked fantastic and had 7 catches on Thursday night. I think this is a good ticket. State your case that this guy could be in for a big year.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, this was 33-1 on FanDuel, 20-1 at DraftKings. So even as we get closer to week 1, you're still seeing some pretty major pricing discrepancies with some of these futures plays. You laid it out well. I think we trust the offense. We trust the coaching. We trust the quarterback play in San Francisco. I am not high on Mike Evans. He was the number 1 guy on my do not draft list this year in fantasy football. There's just a very, very short list of players who have produced at a high level at this point in their careers. Maybe it gives you some touchdowns, but I don't think he's going to be a reliable number 1 option week to week. Like you said, Pearsall's out. Christian Kirk, we'll see. He keeps bouncing around. He keeps getting hurt every year. I think there's a realistic world in which Stribling ends up basically as the number one receiver by accident for the Niners for like half of the season, depending on how their injury luck goes. And then the other part of the equation for me, guys, is you look at some of the bigger names, some of the receivers who were drafted early in round one. I like a lot of these players. I don't really love the landing spots. Like, are we that high on Carnell Tate in Tennessee? Jordan Tyson? Like, I like the Saints. I like Tyler Shuck, but ultimately he's a distant number 2 to Chris Olave. He has injury concerns. Mekhi Lemon, we'll see what kind of impact he makes in year one. There's not an obvious, oh, this guy's going to hit the ground running. He's going to put up 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns right away as a rookie type of player in this class. So I think the race could look a lot like last season where, Tedero McMillan was fine. He won the award. It wasn't Jamar Chase. It wasn't Odell Beckham who ran away with it their rookie seasons. I just think the bar to win it is going to be a little bit lower than it's been for the most part over the last decade.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't like this year's draft class, to be honest. And I think, holding 33-1 right now and Stribling is obviously a fantastic number, and the potential of him in that offense could be off the charts. What does your portfolio look like overall in terms of other bets that you have with awards? Did you do anything with MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Coach, any of it?
Yeah, MVP is one where I'm willing to take long shots. So some of the names that I've been looking at and talked about on our show, it starts with Jalen Hurts to me at 28-1. I know it's not a popular opinion. I'm still a Jalen Hurts supporter. I do think the A.J. Brown thing could be addition by subtraction as far as just allowing the Eagles to play how they want to play and not feeling like there's this obligation to get A.J. Brown involved every other week. So maybe we go back to Jalen Hurts from a few years ago when he was runner-up for the MVP. I think a sprinkle on Jared Goff at 35-1 makes sense. No quarterback has more touchdowns. No quarterback has more yards than Jared Goff over the last 4 seasons. If the Lions are as good as I think they can be, I have them 8-1 to be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
There you go.
I think Jared Goff will at the very least be in that conversation. And then Baker Mayfield, who you can find as long as 55-1. He's the other one. I know the Bucs had a disastrous run to finish the season, but if we get Baker Mayfield from the first half of the year, there was a point, I think it was week 7, week 8, where he was like plus 230 to win MVP. It was him versus Josh Allen at that time. Again, you look at the NFC South, the bar is not that high to win that division. If the Bucs can get to 10, 11 wins, maybe that's enough for Baker Mayfield to force his way into that MVP talk.
Great spot as always, Nick. A pleasure talking to you as always, and really looking forward to it now on a weekly basis. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
Nick Whalen on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow him on X at Whalen, but replace the L with the number 1. So WHA1EN. Win lose up next. You remember when everything was going over not that long ago? Well, it is completely flipped. How about 14 straight unders? Paulie, details next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have the NFL back playing some games. Preseason, call it what you will. But now you can taste it, Paulie. The regular season right around the corner, and more on that here as we go out to the Progressive Guest Line. Recently retired, longtime Las Vegas odds maker and sports bettor Ed Salmons joins the program now. Hey, Ed, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Thanks, guys.
So did you have, now those line moves were horrible this weekend for week 1 in the preseason, but were you able to navigate it, if I can speak English here, successfully?
I did. I wound up playing 3 games this past week and actually went 3-0, so I was pretty proud of that. It's definitely different betting these preseason games than what it used to be. Used to try to find the information first and bet it. And, with X now and all the just social media and everyone, if anybody finds anything out, the line just blows up. It's just insane to see these line moves. Carolina last week announced they're using their starters 10 to 20 plays. Line went from Buffalo 2.5 to Carolina 2. And then, 4 days later, Buffalo says, we're going to play all the guys at practice, which essentially meant Josh Allen's playing. So then the line went back to 3. So, these things are just moving like crazy. So it's just a matter, to me, there's more value finding out the information and betting closer to game time than the opposite, because you don't have to fight everyone.
Good point. Mm-hmm. The moves were terrible, as Mitch mentioned. Also, how about how about how crazy these first half and first quarters numbers? Cincinnati was laying 7.5 in the first half of that game.
Yeah, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not paying attention because they had a big rainstorm before the game. It was raining as the game was going on. So if you kind of put 2 and 2 together there, can't imagine they want to play Joe Burrow a lot in the rain and, bad conditions like that. And 7.5 in the first half is just, that's perfection to me.
Yeah, I mean, in a preseason game, that's a crazy number, really looking back at it. And probably if that ever pops up again, something to circle. So in your years of booking this stuff in the preseason and also betting it, did you find more success betting quarters and halves? Did you find that some of your most respected bettors over at the Westgate, and maybe before that, were betting quarters and halves rather than full game in the preseason?
I never really looked into the quarters and halves just because when I started following it, it just seems like everyone knows what was going on. So, the team 6.5 in the game and 7.5 in the first half. And to me, there's just no value in that. And they all know what side that, the people are looking to bet. So again, it's almost like you have to kind of fade these things because they're just, everything's over exaggerated. That's a sports betting marketplace. It's just anyone says anything and it just over exaggeration. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So looking at the week 1 results and not trying to get too carried away here, but one thing Paulie and I talked about, and it could be a little Captain Obvious here, but my God, Ed, aren't the Browns going to be a disaster again this year?
It's funny you say that because, when I was looking through the teams, like I really like the Browns defense. I think the Browns have one of the better defenses in the league. And, obviously the quarterback situation is the problem. And I watched some of that preseason game against the Bears, and it was like each quarterback was worse than the next one, all three of them. Yes. It was incredible.
Yep.
Incredible. Deshaun Watson is in a pocket, no pressure, and he just feels the need to run up into the pressure, and then he spikes the ball. And then Shedeur was just throwing just some ridiculous interceptions, and Gabriel came in, and he's like, let me be part of this. And he threw a horrendous pick.
They're like 11-1 to have the worst record in football. There's a lot of trash, obviously. But where do you have the Browns when you stack them up against some of the other, bottom feeders of the league, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Jets, et cetera?
Well, just because their defense, the defense in the home field, you get to have to play in Cleveland, and it feels like the bad weather comes in like the middle of September for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And it's always a cold, windy, gray day, or it's snowing, and their defense will always keep them in these games where they'll probably be good enough to win enough. I mean, I think Miami is kind of alone on an island right now as far as being bad. And the one team I'm really surprised at how well they've looked so far in the preseason is the Cardinals. I don't know if the coach is game planning or what, but they just look like really competent on offense. Like they move the ball up and down the field. I know Jeremiah Love got hurt the other day, but I mean, they just look great so far on offense.
Are you okay with their quarterback room entering the season?
Yeah, I mean, Brissett moved the ball up and down the field last year. Their problem was they couldn't stop anything, and obviously they play a ridiculous schedule for a team that finished last. They get no breaks to the schedule maker, but I think that they could surprise some people. I just think Miami wants to be bad this year. I think they're going all out to be bad.
Okay. Noted. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Ed Salmons, recently retired longtime Las Vegas oddsmaker / sports bettor. I can't believe I'm saying this, but for the first time in I don't know how long, I'm pretty high on the Dallas Cowboys. The preseason game had nothing to do with this. I like them, I think, a lot entering the season. What do you think the ceiling is this year for Dallas?
Obviously, the ceiling is winning the division. I mean, I believe right now that, there's, again, it's before the year starts, and on paper, there's better teams in the NFC than the AFC. It's a harder road. But, if Dallas can play championship defense, which is a big if because they haven't been close to that lately, their offense obviously can score a lot of points. So that's the big question. And Dallas was one of my plays this week, and they really went out and played a really good game defensively. And it's something that, you can look at and possibly roll through the preseason, and that they want to win these games right now.
Okay.
But again, it's the defense. Can the Dallas defense rise up? They have to be much better.
Sure. Now, have you bet anything yet for week 2? I know you mentioned you're waiting as long as possible, so maybe not, but is there, if not, is there a team or two that you have circled maybe for this week?
Not yet. I kind of want to just see exactly what's going on. And like I said, I feel like you're better off just waiting and letting these lines just move, and you just get so much more value. I mean, how'd the underdogs do last week? It was incredible between underdogs and unders. They just had a monster week.
Yep.
Yeah, incredible.
Crushed it. So you've been doing this for a long, long time. I want to ask you about this. How much stock do you put into a comment such as this one from Bears coach Ben Johnson when he said, quote, "I want to have the highest scoring offense ever." And he knew, which happened to be the Broncos back in 2013. They averaged 37.9 a game. And he added this, "I want to surpass them. I want shootouts. I want blowouts." End of quote.
It's awesome. I love Ben Johnson. He's incredible. It's amazing when you think about where the Bears were 2 years ago with the coaching they had then as compared to right now. Even in the preseason game where they played no one, they looked so competent compared to Cleveland, just looked like, an amateur team out there. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears could do that. Their defense has definitely lost some people with injuries, so they may have to outscore their opponents.
Ed, pleasure talking to you as always. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck in week 2, and we'll be in touch down the road.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. Ed Salmons on the Progressive guest line. That's the thing is that, Ben Johnson got, to his point, 1 vote, I believe, last year for Coach of the Year. When you and I were screaming holy hell about that, to what Ed was saying.
What a job he did.
Oh, the difference was just...
Come on. They couldn't get the play in last year. The clock issues they had and everything. Oh, come on.
The whole tenure of Eberflus was one of the worst I've ever seen.
Well, more on this coming up, but we've seen some movement already here. But Denver opened 4.5 up to 7.5 at some spots, just how bad Green Bay was. And again, it's 8 in a row. Straight up in ATS for Denver in the preseason. And there was another move here. I'm surprised Pittsburgh opened so short.
Okay.
But we'll see once they announce stuff. Excellent point that he talked about the Buffalo game. It was, Bryce Young will start and it goes crazy. And, Josh Allen's going to play. And then what happened? I thought that field looked terrible.
It did.
For a new stadium?
Oh, I couldn't stop watching the videos that came out from that stadium.
Yeah,
I mean, how they screwed it up.
Yeah.
By the way, where are you at with the Cowboys? I mean, it almost pains me to say that.
9 wins.
Is that right?
You're going to be average.
Man, the offense is so good again, and I don't know how the defense is that bad. They made a bunch of great moves in the draft. I thought was excellent.
Yeah. Where are you at with Washington?
Oh no, thank you.
No good.
Oh
okay.
no.
Giants not buying the hype there. Giants.
Right. Yeah. I think it's
out for last place. Okay. So what? 10 wins.
I think it's a 2-team.
Okay.
Now I don't want to tell you that I'm going to bet them to win the Super Bowl, but. I can't remember the last time, honestly, I said that the Cowboys might be a threat. I think this year they might be. And by threat, I guess I mean, could they make the NFC title game?
Come on. Been a long time.
Okay.
Long time.
All right. We'll expand on NFL numbers for week 2 of the preseason. I don't know. Paul, you think it might fly by a touchdown overall? Let's follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So close you can smell it.
Yeah.
Miss your musk. Go out to the Progressive guest line. Professional bettor Paul Stone joins the program now. He's been popping on once a week throughout the summer to preview every conference in college football with some best bets. Paul, good to talk to you again, my friend. How are you?
Doing good, guys. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but my anticipation and enthusiasm for a a new season never wanes. Always just as excited as I was in the beginning. So great time of the year for us.
Well said. It's like kids on Christmas week, basically. Let's begin. Okay, so the final conference here is the MAC. Overall, the team, the number, in your opinion, that is worthy of a bet.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you look at the outright markets, I think it looks like a 3-horse race, in my opinion. You've got, of course, defending champion Western Michigan. You've got Miami, and then you've got Toledo. But Toledo, they've got some substantial personnel losses, plus they're replacing their head coach. They're replacing both coordinators. So I think it's going to come down to a 2-horse race between Western Michigan and Miami. These two teams actually met in the MAC championship game in Detroit last year. Western Michigan won that game 23-13. And they're going to be a real strong possibility to repeat. I mean, they do return their quarterback, Brock Lowry, probably the best quarterback in the league. Dual threat guy, rushed for almost 1,000 yards last year. Also returned their 1,000-yard rusher, Jalen Buckley. But they were a big-time defense last year. As much as their offense kind of got the headlines, they depended on a defense that only gave up 14.5 points a game in MAC games. So very good defensively. But they lose 8 starters off that defense. So I'm going to look down the sheet just a tad, and they might even be the betting favorite at some stores. But Miami, a team that plays great defense year in and year out, they're a team that's looking for a new quarterback. They played 3 quarterbacks actually last year, had lukewarm results. They only threw for a little over 7 yards per pass attempt, which is, so-so. They threw 17 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions collectively, so not very good in that category. But they have been really consistent under 13th year head coach Chuck Martin. They're a team that, again, whoever their quarterback turns out to be, I don't think they're necessarily going to get a regression at that position. I would expect the play to actually be better. But again, under Martin, this is a team that is looking to qualify for their 4th straight MAC championship game. They actually won the title back in 2023. Over their last 75 MAC games, they are 55-20 straight up, a winning percentage of 73%, the highest of any team in the league over that period. Defense, again, is going to be their calling card. They did lose, as happens in today's college football, their top defensive player, defensive end, Adam Trick. He left literally for the greener pastures of Lubbock, Texas, and Texas Tech University. He'll be difficult to replace. But still, even without Trick, they return 11 of their top 19 tacklers. They're a team that is going to miss Toledo on the schedule. They're going to host Ohio. So like the schedule, I'll take Miami of Ohio plus 370 available today at Circa Resort and Casino.
All right, my friend, how about a win total? And the bar is low, 3.5. 2 years ago, they didn't win a game. What say you with Kent State?
Yeah, I'll admit, you got to admit up front, Paulie, that a man's a lot closer to the outhouse than the penthouse if he's been betting Kent State overs on regular season win totals the last decade. This is not the way to get back to the window. But last year, the Golden Flashes, they won 3 of their last 5 games, ended up finishing 4-4 in MAC play. They were 5-7 overall. And that improvement was largely due to the play of their quarterback, Drew DeShields. He's a guy who threw 19 touchdowns, actually threw 18 touchdowns against only 3 interceptions. A guy who many expected might explore the transfer portal, but he announced in late December that he was coming back to Kent State, and that was just an immense pickup for them to keep Drew DeShields. He only has 9 career starts, so you would expect him to be better in year 2 than he was in his first season as a starter. He can run the ball effectively as well. They didn't run him a whole lot last year because he's had some ACL injuries in the past, but he was healthy last year. He's back for his 2nd year as a starter, and his return just provides great optimism for Kent to perhaps gain bowl eligibility, which they would need to obviously go 6-6 to reach that standard. You got to look at their schedule. They do have a very tough non-conference schedule. They go to South Carolina. They go to Ohio State. They also go to South Florida a little bit later in the year. I think the game that will get them over the hump the most critical game on their schedule, not as far as whether it's a successful season or a unsuccessful season, but as far as the regular season win total, most critical game is their second game when they host Wofford of the FCS. Wofford's a team that went 6-6 last year at the FCS level. They are replacing their quarterback, though, and they are picked 7th out of 10 teams in the Southern Conference. I project Kent State to be about a 6.5-point favorite in that game. They actually have 6 games with a point spread projected of 6.5 or lower. 4 of those with a point spread of 4 points or lower. So a lot of games that could be hotly contested. If Kent does beat Wofford in week 2, they would only need to go 3-5 in conference play to get to 4-8 and get to that over. They get Ball State and Akron, 2 teams picked at the bottom of the league at home. They also travel to FBS newcomer Sacramento State. That game will be about a pick 'em. I think this Kent State's got a chance to get bowl eligible. Wow. I like them to win at least 4 games. Kent State over 3.5 regular season wins, modestly juiced, -105 available today at both DraftKings and BetMGM.
Great breakdown. Follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paul Stone, our guest professional bettor. Follow him on X at Paul Stone Sports. Last bet here in the MAC. You did this with the Pac-12. I loved it. The fact that you found it, how you broke it down. You're going to do the same thing here, but it's total MAC teams to win 6 or more regular season games. Take it away here, Paul.
Yeah, and it's heavily juiced to the under, like the Pac-12 prop was as well. You've got a 13-team league, and this prop, again, is MAC teams total to win 6 games or more, the total being 7.5, heavily juiced in the under at -185 at BetMGM, the over at +140. First of all, I'll start out by saying this prop will probably land on 7 or 8 teams. I hope it lands on 6 to have a little bit of comfort there, but it's going to land probably on 7 or 8 teams, and the reason is probably obvious to many of our viewers and listeners. It's just based on the fact that they play 8 conference games and 4 non-conference games, and those 8 conference games played by those 13 league members, any way you slice it, those games are going to end up with 52 victories and 52 losses. So it's a zero-sum game. The conference games are going to average 4 wins a team, and that's just the way the math works on that. So while we don't ignore the team's conference schedules, we do certainly look much more closely at the non-conference schedules. 11 of the league's 13 members play 1 FCS team. 2 of the members, actually Buffalo and UMass, play 2 FC opponents. So everybody plays at least 1. You look at the schedule, looking at I kind of started my handicap here by looking, obviously at the non-conference schedule of all 13 teams, and I identified the teams that I thought would win 5 or fewer games, and looked again heavily at that non-conference schedule. They've got to play some money games. They got to get some checks, keep the lights on, keep the buses running. So they play some pretty tough opponents. You look at Akron, picked to finish in the 2nd division, at Wake Forest, at Minnesota in the non-conference, play UNLV at home. They're going 1-3 in conference. I don't think they're winning 6. Ball, kind of the same thing. They play at Ohio State, at Liberty, at Northwestern. They're starting out 1-3. I don't think they're getting to 6. Bowling Green might not win a non-conference game. They start out by hosting FCS Tarleton, who had a really, really big season last year, currently favored by 2.5 over Tarleton. But other than that, they go to Nebraska and Iowa State and play South Florida at home. They're not getting to 6 wins. UMass is 0-23 the last 2 years versus FBS teams, 2-43 the last 4 years versus FBS teams. They're not getting to 6 wins in any world. Sacramento State, first-year FBS member, I don't think they're getting to 6 wins. Comes down to Kent pretty much. If Kent does beat Wofford, so I'm kind of going both ways here. If Kent beats Wofford, they go 1-3 in non-conference. They would have to go 5-3 still in conference to get to 6-6. That could happen. And even if it does happen, we've got some wiggle room. Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan, if you look at their schedules, they're not automatic 6-win teams. So I like the under. Again, it's heavily juiced, but under 7.5 teams in the MAC to reach 6 wins or more, juiced at -185, available today at BetMGM.
Exquisite breakdown as always. Follow him on X at Paul Stone Sports. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next Thursday. Hopefully, y'all have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
Back at you. Joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. We'll close up shop, put a bow on this bad boy. Fun show, easy to dance to, I'd say. We had about a 93 today. Best bet's coming up.
I got goosebumps.